Ah, salut, bonjour, bienvenue à ton tuto vocabulaire. Là, on va regarder la météo, le climat. So, ton tuto, vocabulary tuto, we'll look at weather. Great conversation piece, isn't it, weather? Always talking, aren't we? This tuto is focusing on a little bit more sophisticated, a bit more descriptive, nuanced ways of talking about the weather. So it's moving away from just saying il fait beau, il fait mauvais. We're going to have a look at some more sort of like descriptive kinds of ways of talking about it. I'm taking it from this book, Vocabulaire progressif français, du français, niveau intermédiaire, if you want to know where I'm taking this from, and it's page 38. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. Some really great vocabulary. So, le vent, what's le vent? You remember that? Le vent, the wind, yeah. So this is all describing the wind. So what have we got here? So, le temps, by the way, notice that word. We don't pronounce the P and the S and an EM is on. No, so le temps est calme, il n'y a pas un souffle de vent. So the weather is calm and there's not a breath of wind. Souffle. On sent une petite brise, un vent très doux. So we can feel a little breeze, there we go, just like the English, a very soft wind. Lundi, le vent du nord sera sensible et accentuera la sensation de froid. What do you think that refers to? So sensible is sensitive. It's accentuating the sensation of cold. So what do you think? And it's a north wind, so it's a cold one. That's what we would call here in the UK the wind chill factor. Yeah, so it just makes it feel colder than it is. Le temps est très agité. Il y a beaucoup de vent. Les rafales, les coups de vent, les bourrasques peuvent atteindre 80 km à l'heure ou par heure. So the weather is quite unsettled, agitated if you like. There's a lot of wind. Notice that when we talk about wind, we're using il y a, we're not using il fait. So these are gusts. We've got various ways of saying gusts. So les coups, the word coup is used for all sorts of things. If you look it up in the dictionary, you'll see it means so much. So it's quite a versatile one to introduce into your vocabulary. Very specifically, bourrasque. So these are gusts, and they could reach, atteindre, reach, quite a useful word. Now, if you're speaking to someone in France, you probably do want to, whether you're talking about the speed of something or the distance, you probably do want to talk in kilometers because they won't understand miles. So unfortunately, I think it's down to us to, and same with centigrade, I'm afraid, it's down to us to make that effort if we're trying to communicate something. Because if we said, 80 miles an hour, then, and also the word miles doesn't translate very easily into French because it would be mile, and it's not a French word. You can say born, but it doesn't really work. And if you say mille, that means thousands. So that doesn't work. So probably the best route to take is to translate into kilometers. Le vent s'est levé, le vent est tombé. So the wind's got up, literally, and the wind has fallen. Yes, okay. Now, la pluie, which is the rain, la neige, snow, l'humidité is the humidity. There you go. Now, they've got some great ways of talking about the weather here. So, il va pleuvoir. So, you're so used to seeing il pleut that you might forget what the infinitive is to rain. And it's pleuvoir, yeah? So we're using that with aller. So, il va pleuvoir toute la semaine. So it's going to rain all week. Nous aurons un temps pluvieux. So if you want to use the adjective, so that's the verb, pleuvoir. If you want to use the adjective, you can say pluvieux, pluvieux. So we're going to have wet weather. Humide, the opposite of humide is sec. You do say that, see? So damp or dry. La météo, les prévisions météorologiques. Easier to say météo, isn't it? Sometimes referred to as les prévisions. Les prévisions, can you guess what that is? It's forecasts. Annonce. So when they say, oh, you know, they've said that the weather's going to be like this, the verb you would use would be annonce. So I might say to you, qu'est-ce qu'ils annoncent comme météo? Qu'est-ce qu'ils annoncent comme météo? What kind of weather have they forecast? Beaucoup d'humidité, so a lot of rain. Now this is another way of saying rain. So pluie is the noun. You can call it de forte, you don't have to say forte, that's strong, yes, because it's just feminine. De forte précipitation. So another way of talking about rain is precipitation. I kind of remember calling it that in some class at school, I think. Sont à prévoir. So prévision, which is forecast. Sont à prévoir, they are forecast. Yeah, so there we go. En revanche, great little connector there. On the other hand, on annonce une longue sécheresse. So they forecast a long drought, une sécheresse. And you can see sec, it means dry. The feminine of sec is sèche, the adjective. So you can see how the noun has turned into sécheresse. And then that's explained with absence prolongée de pluie, so an absence of rain over a long period of time. Pour l'été prochain, next summer. Les agriculteurs sont inquiets. Les agriculteurs sont inquiets. So the farmers are worried. Okay. Hier, so yesterday, il a plu un peu. Il est tombé quelques gouttes, mais rien de sérieux. Au contraire, pour demain, on prévoit une pluie continue toute la journée. So this is much more descriptive, isn't it? Rather than the very sort of like blunt devices of it's raining, it's not raining, it's sunny, it's, you know, it's grey, you know. This is far more descriptive. So we'll talk about yesterday's. We've got passé composé. So our infinitive is pleuvoir. We usually say il pleut in the present tense. Here we're using the passé composé. So hier il a plu. So yesterday it rained a little. Il est tombé quelques gouttes. So a couple of drops fell, but nothing too serious. Nothing to write home about, if you like. Au contraire, you know, the opposite for tomorrow. On prévoit, we forecast. You can imagine what that is. Une pluie, which is the noun, continuous rain. And then all day is toute la journée. That means all day. Dimanche, so we know this is talking about the past because this is passé composé here. We're not talking about the Sunday that's coming up. We're talking about the Sunday that's happened. Il a plu à torrent averse. So it rained, you know, torrential rain, or you can use à torrent or averse. Okay. Another one is il a plu les courdes, des courdes. Nous avons eu une pluie battante. So we had such strong rain that it was sort of like battering down. In actual fact, I'm in the downstairs room today because the attic where I normally work is the rain so strong, I can't hear you. So that's what une pluie battante is, yes? So très forte. So that's the feminine of the adjective. Yes, agreeing there with une pluie. Yes, so very strong, all day, toute la journée. So au printemps, il y a souvent des averses, des giboulées, de fortes pluies, mais courte durée, entrecoupées d'éclaircies, de moments ensoleillés. So in spring, and notice we don't say dans printemps, we say au printemps. There are often showers. And the April showers are called actually, they're des giboulées. Yeah, that's the April showers. So strong rain, short duration, interspersed with sunshine. Some moments of sun. So éclaircie is sunshine, you know, little rays of light. Éclair is lightning. It's slightly different. Depuis 3 jours, il y a de la brune. Une petite pluie très fine. So for 3 days now, we've had drizzle. I think we'd call that drizzle. So it's a little rain, very fine rain. Je ne prends pas la voiture demain car on annonce beaucoup de brouillard. Un brouillard épais. Il paraît qu'on n'y verra rien. C'est très dangereux. Après dissipation des brumes matinales, disparition d'un léger brouillard, le soleil s'imposera. So I'm not going to take the car tomorrow because they've announced. So we now know that annoncer, we don't have to say météo and all that because it's implied, yeah? We're talking about the weather, we say announced. So they've announced a lot of fog, that's fog. And then épais means thick, so very thick fog. And it seems, il paraît que, by the way, il paraît que is goes with the indicative for those of you who know about subjunctive and indicative. Apparently we're not going to be able to see anything, it's very dangerous. And we've got a separate situation here. After the clearing of the morning mist, so brume is mist, brouillard is fog, two different things, aren't they? And then, you know, it clears this light, you know, light fog, if you like, the mist clears and then the sun comes through. Lorsqu'il fait soleil, juste après la pluie, on voit parfois un arc-en-ciel de toutes les couleurs. So when it's sunny, just after rain, sometimes we see un arc-en-ciel, which I'm sure you can guess what that is, yes? A rainbow of all the colours. Il neige un peu, so it's snowing a little bit. Il tombe quelques flocons, mais ça ne tiendra pas. So it's snowing a little bit, a couple of snowflakes, yeah, a couple of flakes. But then what does this mean? Mais ça ne tiendra pas means it's not settling. Tenir is to, you know, just to stick, to hold on to. So we would say it's not settling. They say it doesn't stick. Il y a beaucoup de neige. Pardon, il a beaucoup neigé. Il y a eu une tempête de neige. Il est tombé 50 cm de neige. Il y a des congères au bord des routes. Le chasse-neige va passer pour dégager les routes. So it's rained a lot. This is passé composé. Notice the beaucoup comes in between. Il a beaucoup neigé. We know it's passé composé because we've got a bit of avoir there and we've got the past participle with the accent. So it can't be an adjective there. Il y a eu, that's passé composé as well. A snowstorm. Tempête is a storm. And they had 50 centimeters of snow. Again, if you're speaking to someone in France, talking in inches would be just incomprehensible to them. So I think if you're speaking French, I think probably going to the metric system is better than saying, so I'm trying to force our imperial system. That's my view anyway. So there's got like drifts on the side of the road. And so the snowplow is going to have to come and clear the roads. Très bien. Il va geler dans la nuit. Il va faire moins 10 degrés. Et il y a des risques de verglas sur les routes. Ça va glisser. Même les trottoirs vont être glissants. So it's gonna freeze in the night. It's going to be 10 degrees. So when we talk about temperature, we use faire. Yeah. So il va faire, and then if you want to say minus, it's moins 10. So you don't have to say plus when it's above 0, but you know if you're in a minus. So, and there's a risk of black ice. Black ice is verglas on the roads, and ça va glisser. It's going to be slippery. Even the pavements will be slippery. So ça va glisser, that's a verb, isn't it? But même les trottoirs vont être glissants. We're using glissant as an adjective to describe the pavements. Il fait froid ce matin. Il y a du givre sur les vitres de la voiture. So it's cold this morning and there's frost on the windows of the car. So it's really good, isn't it? Really good. I mean, none of this weather is what we want, you know, because it's very sort of like wintry kind of weather, maybe a little bit of spring weather in there as well. But far, far more descriptive than just saying il fait froid, il fait chaud. And as it's such an important, well, such an easy way to strike up a conversation with someone, I'd say that it's worth really getting yourself familiar with some of these phrases, so that the ones that you think you're most likely to use for the time of year, of course, so that you can strike up that conversation and keep it going. It's a great vocabulary set to invest in because you're going to use it over and over again. So I'd recommend that. Bon, ben, merci beaucoup. C'était un grand plaisir pour moi. Et je vous souhaite une très bonne journée. Et puis, à la prochaine alors. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.